Hello and welcome back to The Goodness Margin, the place where we find margin for the good things in life. Welcome to January, or if you're watching this at another time, to month 1. We are going step by step, room by room, and we are decluttering and minimizing one zone at a time. If you follow me for the next 6 months, you will have decluttered and minimized your entire home. All of the rooms inside of your home will be taken care of. This schedule follows along with my deep cleaning schedule. I will link that below in the notes. What I do every single month is I have a zone of my home that I go through and I deep clean and I minimize it. Now, when I was just getting started on this journey, of course, that took a little bit longer because I had more things to take care of. Now, I'm pretty much just kind of double checking everything, maybe minimizing a few things and doing deep cleaning. So as you continue on this journey, these tasks are going to take a lot less time. So let's get started with Zone 1. Zone 1 for me typically takes place in January and in July. And in those months, I'm going to be focusing on my living room and my office area. Now, I only have just a little nook outside of our kitchen. You may have an entire office, so this may be a little bit of a larger project for you. But the reason that I couple the living room with that is because for me, the living room is a really, really easy room to take care of. And sometimes the office can be a little bit overwhelming. I do have a blog post and a video that goes a little bit deeper into the living room, but today I want to share with you 4 simple steps for you to minimize, declutter, and deep clean your living room. The first thing you want to do is you want to clear off all of the surfaces. You want to take everything off of everything. All of the surfaces need to have nothing on it. Sometimes we can slowly add up with knickknacks and things like that, and then before we know it, we have a lot of stuff on the surfaces. I prefer to keep my surfaces fairly clear. I do like to have decorations, but I want it to be really easy for me to clean. I would even encourage you to live with those surfaces naked for a little while. Keep the stuff off of it and then slowly add back your favorite things. Step number 2 is going to be our storage units. If you have storage units in your living room, the first thing I want you to do is to rethink those storage units. I feel like our living room is a space that doesn't really need to have much storage in it. However, if you live in a really small space or that's the only place for you to keep certain things, then by all means, keep those storage units. But you want to pull everything out of your storage units and be sure that you don't have things that don't belong in the living room, that don't need to be there. If you have a media center, go through it and double check your electronics. Many times we can hold on to things that are obsolete, that we no longer use, or maybe they don't even work anymore. So be sure to pull everything out of those storage units, go through it, ruthlessly declutter it, and then put back exactly what still belongs. Remember, the less you store, the less you have to maintain and take care of. Step number 3 is to look at your seating. Do you have enough seating in the room? Do you have too much seating in the room? Look at the pillows that are placed on your chair, on your couch. Are those things that still work for that space, that you maybe need to replace them, or that you have too many there? You also want to look at your end tables or your coffee table. Are they placed correctly? Do some things need to be rearranged? Or maybe swap something out? Think about the amount of people that typically sit in your living room. Does this space still work for that? It's really important for us to continually reevaluate these spaces. Number 4, now that you've completely decluttered, it's time to deep clean. I'll have a list here for how you're going to deep clean that space, but you're going to do the baseboards. You're going to vacuum the furniture. You're going to make sure if you have a ceiling fan or a light fixture that those are dusted really well. This deep cleaning aspect may take a little while if it's something you haven't done recently, but remember, the more we move along in this journey, the easier these things get. I believe that starting with the living room is going to make a huge impact in your home. This is a space that we use all of the time. We typically are going to sit in our living room at least once a day. And so now that you've done this, you're ready to move on and you can enjoy this space. I will also link my nightly routine below. And one of the things I do each night is I do a nightly pickup. And that's in the lower level of my home, which is mostly my kitchen and my living room. And so each night I just be sure that I've picked up any clutter, and that way I can completely maintain this space. Each morning when I wake up, I walk downstairs and my living room is completely decluttered. It's neat and tidy and ready for me to start my day. Okay, let's move on to the office area. Now, if you're overwhelmed with paperwork, I will put some links below. I have quite a few links for blog posts and videos that are regarding paperwork. Paperwork can be so overwhelming. So what I want you to do is when it comes time for the paperwork, I want you to sit it to the side and focus on it as you can. If paper is something that you have been avoiding for a while, just take it in chunks, take it in pieces. You can conquer this. So the first thing I want to do with your office is I want you to go in and look at each section. Where do you have cabinets? Do you have a desk? Where do the supplies go? Just pull everything out and really reevaluate what you have. Do you still need these things? Again, talking about electronics, the office is another place that these things can sort of just pile up and they no longer work. We no longer need them. And so let those things go. Be sure that your office is a space that you can truly work in, that you have access to things that you need, but you don't have stuff in there that's not necessary. So you've pulled everything out, you've decluttered it. Now you're going to wipe out the cabinets. You're going to wipe down the cabinets. You're going to wipe down all of the furniture. And then you are going to very neatly put everything back. And then last but not least, I want you to really evaluate your surfaces. I have moved from my office nook. We put a desktop there for my son. He does a virtual school. And so he is there all of the time. Now I do use those cabinets and I use those drawers. That's where my office type things are located. But I started working actually at this table right here. And the only thing I keep at this table is I have a little tray that typically goes in the middle of it. I have a cup of pens. I do keep my planner there, and then sometimes I'll have fresh flowers or something like that, just something pretty. But those are the only things, and my laptop, of course, but those are the only things that I need access to on a regular basis. I actually have my stapler and my tape. Those kinds of things are in a drawer. I have found that I don't need access to them as often as I think. So sometimes on our desk, we can have all of these things that we think we need access to on a regular basis, where if we're only using it once a day, it's really not a big deal to open a drawer and grab it. Now, if you use your stapler 10 or 20 times a day, maybe that's something to keep on your desk, but really reevaluate the space that you're working on. I have found that keeping a clear space is really, really great to help keep my mind clear. And that way I sit down and I'm not distracted by anything and I can just focus on what I need to focus on. For the office nook where my son works, I have even utilized this method for him. He only has a cup of pens and he has his mouse pad and his mouse there on the desk. He doesn't have anything else because he needs to keep that space clear. When he's finished using one particular school book, he can put it back up in the cabinet. And that way he can move on to what's next without being distracted by the clutter. So as I talk about in my weekly cleaning routine and in my deep cleaning routine, Thursdays are typically the day that I do my deep cleaning, that I work in those rooms where the zones are for the month. And so I encourage you to join me on social media and move through those spaces with me. But when you're looking at your month and you have the zone that you're working on, divide it into 4 sections. So you may need longer than 30 minutes on a Thursday. So you can say, okay, this week, this is the area that I'm focusing on. Now, here's my suggestion for you for this zone for this month. Week number 1, we're going to focus on the living room. I really think this is something that can be done pretty quickly. And so 1 week should be plenty for you to take care of your living room. Week number 2 is going to be your office space. Now don't forget, set all of your paper off to the side. You can take care of that at a later date and decide how paperless that you want to go. Because week number 3, we are going to focus on paper. For me, January is a great time for me to look at this. We're getting ready for tax season, all of those things that we need to be sure we have our stuff in order. If you want to go paperless, this is a great time to get started with that. And again, I have linked some blog posts and videos to help you along on this process. So in week 3, you're going to focus on paper. And on week 4, we're going to catch up. Maybe there's a week that you weren't able to get to something, or maybe the living room took you a little bit longer than you thought. Use this last week to really finish up these tasks. I am so excited for you to get started on this minimalism journey along with me. It has made such a wonderful impact in my life. Join me next month for month 2 as we declutter and minimize our homes room by room. I know that these things will help you to find margin in your life. If you've enjoyed this video and you would like to know when the next video goes live, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell so that you'll be notified.